All right, so nobody's here, but I'm going to get going anyway. This is part 2 of bolt jaw tongs. So I did a live stream some time back and made 1/2 of a pair of bolt jaw tongs. So these are going to be 5/8, so the bits aren't humongous. Forge welded rein, 7/16 bar for the round bar for the rein. That's what I like. And I in the I forged one whole side, end, and I just the second. So on this stream, I'm going to. Oh boy, I wish I could have a wider angle lens, but oh well. Rivet the tongs together, so we're going to assemble them, and we're going to fit the bits to the square stock. My rivet is 3/8 diameter. So yeah, let's get the rivet made. So for the rivet, I'm just going to find a scrap of 3/8 stock. Cut it. So my bosses are about 3/8 of an inch thick. 3/8 of an inch thick. And so 2 times 3/8. Man, you can't see my face. You can't see the. So where those cross over, where the rivet hole is, it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. For rivet stock, to determine the size of the how much material you need for the rivet head, the general rule of thumb is video quality is very poor. It's probably my service. Let me move the tripod a little closer to the window. So that's probably the best we're gonna get. Let me know if the video gets any better. My internet here is not the greatest, and but hopefully that'll change soon. We live way out in the sticks, and we just recently got fiber put in on our road. So hopefully we will be getting high quality internet this year, and we will be able to more reliably do things like live streams. So anyway, at least 1.5 times the diameter of the stock for the rivet head. I'm going to go a little bit over that. I'm going to say that I want 3/4 of an inch for each side, each rivet head. So that 3/4 times 3 brings me to 1 3/4, 2 1/4. So times 2 would be 1.5 inches, times 3 would be 2 1/4. So we're going to heat this up and cut it off. So I'm going to need a spacer or spacers 3/4 of an inch thick, and you will see why. So I'll move this where you can tell whether it would be best to stream in horizontal or vertical, but horizontal it is this time. And if that, I should have gone back to look and see what the other one was. Let's see. So I'm looking for some 3/4 inch thick blocks. I know I have some 3/4 inch thick stock around here somewhere. Here's one. Here's a piece. So this is 3/4 inch thick. I think I can get away with just one. No, I'll need 2. So for what I'm doing, what I'm looking for is a bolster. This is a bolster that is about 9/16 thick. I really need one of these that's 3/4 of an inch thick, and you can use a large nut for this as well. It just needs to be the right depth. But I don't have one of those, and I don't want to take the time to make one. So I'm not. So we are going to just get by with a couple pieces of stock. So I have 2 pieces of bar stock, 3/4 of an inch thick. And I'll set those out of the way. Put our hot cut in place. Now we're going to cut our rivet stock off. So, did the video quality get any better? And if y'all have any questions, just holler. So, pretty hard on a live stream by yourself to show things very well, like all the steps, and I can't really get close up. So if you want to see, basically my process for riveting tongs is the same as Mark Asbury's. So there are some really great videos on YouTube that Mark Asbury has done on making tongs. So go check his tong making videos out. It's just Mark Asbury's channel. Mark Asbury, it's his name. Yeah, so go check his videos out, and yeah, you can see this whole process in detail. So I'm doing the same thing he does. So I'm heating my stock on the rivet. I could do this cold, but it's gonna have to be heated anyway. So, yeah, and my forge table is still too small. I wish there was a way to keep the comments up. Let's see, chat viewing, live chat. Will that do it? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Scott. And Paul. Yeah, so this is pretty boring, but I'm just finishing up a pair of tongs. So as I said before, I did a live stream quite some time ago where I made 1/2 of the tongs start to finish. So now I've gone back and I've made the other half, and I am ready to assemble, rivet them together, and then I will be fitting the tongs to the stock. Ooh, I toasted my metal. Too hot. It's okay, we got plenty of stock to work with. Alright. Now let me grab my ruler. I just butt the ruler against the hot cut. I'm going to slightly chamfer things there a little bit. Now, break that off. Well, okay, now we're going to remove that. I'm going to put my 2 pieces of 3/4 inch stock on here. Again, this is just acting as a spacer off the anvil. So the purpose of the spacer, or between the pieces, and you'll see here in just a minute what the purpose of that is for. So tongs like these can be put together either right-handed or left-handed. So a right-handed pair of tongs, when you're looking at them, if you hold the pair of tongs in your hand, so the rein that's on this side will be on your right. That's for a right-handed pair of tongs. For left-handed, it would be opposite. So I want to make sure, because I'm picky like that, I want to make sure that mine are correct. So now we're just going to hold these together. Stick the rivet in. Nice fit. And I'm going to try to chamfer or mushroom the end of the rivet out. I'll do it to the other end as well, even though it's not necessary. Okay, so again, what I just did is I flared the end of the rivet just enough that it won't fall through. Lay my bar back up there. I'm going to put these bars at a slight angle so that when I come out of the fire, I can just slide them in between and they'll be tight, or the rivet will be tight. So, I'm going to leave that rivet hanging all the way out one side, and I'm going to put that down in the fire, leaving the tongs basically on top of the fire. What I want is I want the rivet to get hot, but I don't want the tongs to get super hot. So I've got a nice mature fire that's packed. Down in there the way I want. And I'm going to crank pretty hard because again I want to heat the end of that rivet. And if you had a torch, rivet at a time, but I don't have nor do I want to use a torch. Not against torches, it's too modern for this shop. Ouch! I just grabbed that hot piece I cut off. Oh. Alright, so let's stop scrolling with my middle finger. It didn't get me very bad. That's why you shouldn't leave hot pieces sitting on top of the table or the anvil. Alright, so keep cranking on it. Get this rivet hot. So when I come out of the fire and I rivet the tongs over so the hot end of the rivet is up, and then I will drive the rivet down where the cold end of the rivet goes through, because that will leave my the material that I need, the head of the rivet. The other side. So here we go. And in the fire. I don't make very many tongs, so my calculation for the rivet, very likely that one rivet head will be bigger than the other. It's aggravating aesthetically, but it's not a problem as long as there's enough mass on each side. And that first one was really bigger than it needed to be. But again, I don't really care. These are for me, they're to use, and that rivet can always be replaced later. But it probably won't be. Alright, we're getting close. I want to work them while they're still hot. So I really like that. That rivet head is really pretty. This one could be squished a little bit more, but I'm going to have to heat it up and cool the other side so that they even out a little bit. not super hard to do. I'll just heat the tongs up, and I will pour water against the side of the rivet head that I don't want to move, and then squish the other side. Or rather, instead of pouring, I'll just clinch it off. All right. Yeah, man. We'll just go ahead and chamfer that. Totally not needed, but beautiful rivet, if I do say so myself. That's actually the best looking one I've done. All right. Those are looking mighty fine. Check the comments here. Why have they gone away? Okay. Hi, Broadus. Let's see. Smoosh the button. If the picture is blurred, it's probably because my internet is horrible. And yes, the ice and snow are not helping. Let me, I've got like a foot. I can move the camera back closer to the window, which sometimes helps. So let me do that. I'll shake y'all up a little bit, and we'll see if that improves the video quality. So as I said earlier, we've always had horrible internet. Always had horrible internet. All right. Let's see if that helps any. We've always had horrible internet here. We live out in the sticks. But we just recently had fiber run down our road. So hopefully very soon, sometime this year, we will get good internet. Yeah, we had dial-up. We had dial-up probably until, shoot, my parents had dial-up up until 2010, somewhere in there. Yeah, it was ridiculous. All right, so these are ready for adjustment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat the jaws, everything in front of the rivet. And I'm going to try to get them evenly hot. And then I will take a piece of stock. In this case, these are going to be sized for 5/8. I'm going to take a piece of 5/8 stock and put it in the jaws and squish it in the vise. But first, you can see the jaws are not lined up and they're a little crooked. So I'm going to tweak that around by hand before I do the final squish in the vise. So I'm going to cool off my reins a little bit where the heat's creeping up. All right, take a heat. So I have several pairs of these tongs that I've made. They're all a little different. 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches that I readjust for 2 inch. I don't use those very often. And I have some of Dave Custer's bolt jaw tongs that I bought years ago when I first started. I got 2 pairs from him. They were 1/2 inch and 3/8. And I've used the snot out of these, and I've heavily modified them. Dave Custer, and I'm not bashing on Dave, but Dave's tongs have improved a lot in the last couple years. When I got these from him, they had a very angled throat back here, very angled. And I really despise that in bolt jaw tongs, because one of the things that I do quite frequently is upsetting. And when you're upsetting the stock needs a place to hit. If it doesn't have kind of a flat spot down in here, if the bolt jaws don't have kind of a flat spot for the stock to hit, when you're upsetting and you're hammering against, hammering the stock back into the tongs, it forces the tongs open in your hand. And it's just slight. but it causes you to lose your grip, and it stresses your hand, and it stresses the tongs and whatever. But anyway, I just don't like it. It's not a big deal for most of the time, but I much prefer bolt jaws that have a flat spot down in here. So I modified these to be like that. I also straightened out the reins. I've gotten to where I don't like the little flip on the end. It just hangs on stuff. I've never had any trouble keeping a tong clip or ring on straight reins. And so even though that little flip looks cool, flip, curl, whatever you want to call it, I find it unnecessary and even impractical. But that's more of a personal preference thing. So here's the other pair of Dave's tongs I have, and again, this is Dave Custer Fiery Furnace Forge. These are heavily modified as well. I cranked them off to the side to make them slightly offset for some specific work that I do. I also cut off half the jaws to make them real short. So yeah, but anyway, bolt jaw tongs are one of my favorite styles of tongs, and really the style that I use the most. And I find them extremely, I mean, I do find, I do use common flat, but rarely. I find bolt jaws to be probably the most versatile tongs in the shop for what I do. With my second favorite being box jaw tongs. For lots of reasons. I need to make a lot more box jaw tongs. The V-bit bolt jaw style is really super nice until you need to hold them between your legs, and you need the piece to not be on a any direction. All right, so just here. I guess I'll keep going. The phone is in the best place it can be, so there's really not much else I can do. I can raise it up a little bit, maybe that'll help, but it's doubtful. All right. So I'm fixing to come out of the fire, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of tweak these just by eye at the anvil to line up. Yeah, that's getting there. All right, that's better. Now I can get the stock in there. So again, these are going to be for 5/8. I'm going to go ahead. Ah, that's hot. Go ahead and start opening that up. All right, we need more heat. There's really no sense in me doing that. Once you can get the stock in there, you might as well just take it to the vise. And screaming hot. Needs to be really hot. Take it to the vise, put the stock in the jaws, and squish it. Squish it till the jaws are completely seated on the stock, and then we'll probably have to tweak the jaws a little bit from there. They're fit on the bar, but that squeezing will take it. We'll mash the stock, the corners of the stock down into the corners of the cut. And again, if you want to see me split the jaw and all that stuff, I did. It was the last live stream on here. I know it's a ways back in the see if the video quality's any better now. Alright, make sure my bar isn't super hot on me. We're going to go to the vise. Almost hot enough. We'll make sure the vise jaw is open far enough. It's probably too far. We're going to stick the stock in there, like so. Delicious. All right. Now I'm going to, while I'm here at the vise, I'm going to adjust the reins a little. Not all the way. Somehow one of these is bent, and I don't have a clue how that happened. So I want to make sure they're straight side to side. Not too far. And then while I'm squeezing the jaws shut, I check to make sure that the corner of the stock is lined up with the reins. All right. And we're going to brush that off a little bit. Oh, it's too cold. The scale is sticking. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. I still need to tweak the reins a little bit. They're a little further apart than I like. But that's just with a simple squeezing in the vise. So just for clarity's sake, just in case anybody missed it, the jaws were split with a hot chisel before this step. So the stock does not just squish its way in there. Just making sure that the fit is nice. All right. Now, I'm going to close these again just a little bit. Because what happens is they tend to splay out a little. Okay, now that's, oh, it's just the rivet is loose. That's okay. All right, snug the rivet back up. That is not the prettiest alignment job ever. Oh, wrong direction apparently. Yeah, majorly wrong. Okay. At this point, I'm just getting too picky, but it's okay. See if I can't tweak them up to look a little bit better. They're a little bit wonky right now, but I'm going to take one more heat and tweak them a little bit more. And I've also got a rein. Somehow this one rein got crooked on me, which is really weird because I haven't messed with it since I tweaked them straight. So everybody has their own preferences when it comes to tongs. All the little details of tongs. But when it comes to the size and shape of reins, I really love 7/16 round stock for reins. So you can see how mine, they kind of taper down into the 7/16. The 7/16 starts about here, about a third of the way back. Really love it. All right, we're gonna heat the jaws real good one more time, and
tweak it in the vise. See if I can find what I did with my piece of stock. Be mindful that thing gets hot. So we're gonna put that back in. We're gonna quench that off. All right, get this hot again. These tongs probably would have been just fine after that first tweaking. I could have just left them alone and they would have worked great. It's okay, as long as I don't burn them on the final tweak. Somebody told me forging is fast, but tweaking is forever. And it really is if you have a problem with perfectionism. So anyway, I'm going to get them hot one more time. I also like the reins on my tongs to be mostly straight. Maybe a little bit of curve, depending on the style of tong. I don't mind a little bit of curve up close to the jaws, but I like the tongs to be mostly straight. So you can see how these reins have a little bit of curve here. And that's just to make them set in the tong rack nice. And then they're pretty much straight from their back. And that's generally how I like them. It depends on the style of tongs. Man, it is going to be so nice to have a pair of 5/8 tongs. I've been needing these forever. I'm making another boot scraper this afternoon, so the last one I made, the one I made for the last major video, I had to temporarily modify my 1/2" tongs to hold 5/8 stock, and I don't like it once, but I don't want it to be a regular thing. Alright, I'm thinking I just need to call that good enough and leave it alone. Leave it the heck alone. Alright. So, some people call this style of bolt jaw tong sort of an industrial style because of the shape of the eye inside, and also because you can make them from flat bar. Some of the people out there that have helped me or inspired me in making this style of bolt jaw tongs would include Pat Quinn, hand forged. Let's see, what is Pat Quinn's handle? Is it hand forged in Vermont? I think it's hand forged NVT, INVT on Instagram, and he's the boss at the Center for Metal Arts in Johnstown, PA. And Pat Quinn makes beautiful, beautiful tongs. That was hot. Fortunately, I didn't touch it very long. That's the second time I've touched hot metal on live. Never happens, and if you believe that. But anyway, Pat Quinn makes beautiful bolt jaw tongs. I'm not crazy about the style myself. They have reins that are flat bar. I like a really nicely rounded off rein. And I want it rounded off fairly close because sometimes my hand winds up fairly close up here. Jacob Ferrum, also gave me some pointers early on this style of tongs. And yeah, so anyway, these are all done. Let me show you what we've got. Actually, I'm gonna quench them off. They're quite hot. All right, so here we go. So again, that's still hot. It's warm, too warm to mess with. So again, one of the important features on this style of tongs for me, for a bolt jaw, well, any pair of tongs, I want the stock that it's meant to hold to be able to seat in this area really nicely, and there not to be any kind of like V shape here that the stock like upsetting force would cause. If there was a V shape there, the upsetting force would cause the reins to like loosen with every blow. And it's the main problem with that is just that it's tiring on your hands. So once again, I find bolt jaw tongs to be very, very versatile. You can often hold flat bar in them. You can hold round bar, obviously, square bar, and yeah, they're just super, incredibly handy tongs. So these aren't perfect, but they are dang good, and they'll do me good service. I even got the reins relatively even. So what I like to do, and again, this is a trick I learned from Mark Asprey, is I like to I'll forge the jaw of my tongs out of heavier stock, and you can see all of this in that previous live stream. But I like to forge the jaw out of heavier stock, and then forge weld it on about in this area onto a piece of 7/16 rod. And what I like to do is calculate how much 7/16 rod I need. In this case, for a 16-inch jaw, for 16 to 18-inch reins, let's put it that way. 16 to 18-inch reins, I would lean towards about 10 to 12 inches of 7/16 bar for each. But anyway, one jaw onto one end of the rod. I'd leave this rod, these two pieces in one piece, the tongue rein on each end of that, and then measure to exactly the middle and cut it off, cut them apart as the very last step. And it makes it easier because you've got a long piece to hang on to. It makes it easier working on the tongs. And it also means that you can get your reins pretty even because you're just going to cut them apart, calculate the exact middle, and cut them apart at the end. So anyway, yeah, go back to the other live stream to see how this is forged. And that's how I fit them up. Rivet. It's one of the better looking ones so far. Still not perfectly even, but it looks pretty good. These are going to get lots and lots of use. All right, guys, I don't see any other questions, and so I'm going to get off of here. Sorry for the bad internet. That will improve at some point, like I said. But hey, I got me a nice set of tongs. I've got quite a few sizes and styles that I still need. But anyway,